What's up, YouTube? SalvoG here, and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we had a VIP request from Liv over on Patreon. Thank you to Liv for the support to the channel and giving us a song here called Chelsea Hotel number 2. So this album doesn't have the song listed, so I'll say a few things about the song in a second. But Leonard Cohen, I have heard one song from him, most famously called Hallelujah, and I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, that song it's been everywhere. It's covered 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure I myself have heard that song hundreds of times. So I have heard Leonard Cohen, so that's why this isn't a first time hearing. Well, I don't know if I've heard him sing it directly. That would be, I probably have, but I'm just not sure exactly. But I will go over Leonard Cohen really quickly here. Singer, songwriter, musician, poet, novelist from Canada. Okay, folk rock mainly, looks like. Okay. Themes commonly explored throughout his work include faith and morality, isolation and depression, betrayal and redemption, social and political conflict, and sexual and romantic love, desire, regret, and loss. He was inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame, the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay, let's head on over to the album real quick, which is called New Skin for the Old Ceremony. 1974 folk rock album, fourth studio album by Leonard. On this album, he begins to evolve away from the rawer sound of his earlier albums with violas, mandolins, banjos, guitars, percussion, and other instruments, giving the album a more orchestrated but nevertheless spare sound. The album is silver in the UK, but never entered the Billboard Top 200 in the US. Okay, now this particular song, this refers to a sexual encounter in the Chelsea Hotel. For some years, when performing this song live, Cohen would tell a story that made it clear that the person about whom he was singing was Janis Joplin. Cohen would eventually come to regret this choice to make people aware that the song was about Joplin and the graphic detail in which the song describes their brief relationship. Alright, so it's about Janis. Okay, let's get into it. Here we go.
I remember you well in the Chelsea Hotel. You were talking so brave and so sweet, giving me head on the unmade bed while the limousines wait in the street. Those were the reasons, that was New York. We were running for the money and the flesh, and that was called love. For the workers in song, probably still is for those of them left. Yeah, but you got away, didn't you, babe? You just turned your back on the crowd. You got away, I never once heard you say, I need you, I don't need you, I need you, I don't need you, and all of that jiving around. I remember you well in the Chelsea Hotel. You were famous, your heart was a legend. You told me again you preferred handsome men, but for me you would make an exception. And clenching your fist for the ones like us who are oppressed by the figures of beauty, you fixed yourself. You said, well, never mind, we are ugly, but we have the music. And then you got away, didn't you, baby? You just turned your back on the crowd. You got away, I never once heard you say, I need you, I don't need you. I need you. I don't need you. And all of that jiving around. I don't mean to suggest that I loved you the best. I can't keep track of each fallen robin. I remember you well in the Chelsea Hotel. That's all, I don't even think of you that often.
Okay, so I took a second to go back and read the lyrics for myself again. What's mainly interesting about this song, well, actually, I'll say this first. Like, definitely a deep, gravelly, interesting voice. It sounds like there's a lot of just like time and knowledge in his voice. Like, it just, I don't know, I feel like I'm listening to like history pages when he's singing. It's actually quite relaxing. So that's one thing about his voice that I caught and I was feeling as I was listening to it. So the song is, or the instrumentation I should say, is, you know, pretty simplistic. It's minimalistic, and I think that was just an artistic choice, probably, you know, to make sure that he could focus on the lyrics and the listener could focus on what he's saying and his voice as he tries to turn the lyrics, or not turn them into, but make the listener feel the intimacy of the lyrics. And the instrumentation is like just enough to enrich it, but not enough to like take away from the song and the nature of the song. He's very vulnerable here, and I think anytime a song or an artist demonstrates vulnerability, it's easy to resonate with, because I feel like sometimes it's not easy for humans to be vulnerable, right? And maybe sometimes you need a little help, or maybe you don't even know it actually, you know, but when you hear a song and you hear someone else being vulnerable, it opens up a different side of you. And I most notably can recall moments for me on this channel where that happens, and that's why I always give so much credit to Stevie Nicks, because she unlocked that for me. So yeah, that's another thing here, like the vulnerability that he's showing to, you know, discuss like love, loss, and fleeting connections, right? Like, because this was obviously something that stuck with him and he's sharing it with us. And even though at the end here he says, I remember you well in the Chelsea Hotel, that's all. I don't even think of you that often. But I don't know if that's so true, because you wrote the song. So yeah, that is an interesting thing to touch on. The last line there, that's an interesting one. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but I feel like the acknowledgement of the fleeting connection that he's experiencing, and the chance, you know, of something that possibly could have been, I think that's enough for me to connect to the song, and I think that's actually quite nice. It's a very pensive song. Like, it's a deep, serious thought and memory, and it's a quite literal memory, like literally, you know, it's very easy to picture this. So I think that's really vulnerable. I enjoy that. That's pretty much it. I think it's a rather intimate song as well. So I guess, you know, I'm not going to get too much more into it as far as why this was Liv's selection. I'm just doing my best to connect with it, and that's all I can really do when I hear songs for the first time. If there's not, you know, the excitement factor or wow factor, you know, it's time to try and make a deeper connection. So for me, it's Leonard, you know, dropping his barriers and giving us what seems like a core memory in his life, and I think that's pretty sweet. So yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next one. Peace.